Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to rock and roll? Well, I hope so, because coming to you live from an undisclosed location deep in the heart of American flyover country, I am Jeffrey Darty, the Christian whistleblower, wall to wall, treetop tall, coast to coast, and border to border and beyond, ladies and gentlemen, under the radar, but always over the top. And today, we're going to be talking about a subject that Tracy Dyer suggested to me. And when I first looked at it, I kind of rolled my eyes like, what? But then the more I looked at it, the more it made sense, or the more it didn't make sense. What's going on in the chat room? A lot of people here: Trelana, Violet, Jessica, V Capri, Alan, Alien, Jason Rios, Debbie McNabb. Someone please send the rescue dogs. Robert is stuck in Charles Schumer country in upstate New York. Sorry to hear that, Robert. Power Vapor Supply talks about the ozone layer preventing the most harmful UVB wavelengths of ultraviolet light from passing through Earth's atmosphere. Tracy says, here's your rescue. Roger Rabbit has topped in. Harry Honkanen. Journeyman, did Jeff decide to give up Florida? Spaceship not sufficient for escape. Oh, a spaceship. He probably had to take an escape for it was underwater. Air-conditioned clothing. Elites know the ozone and melanin problem. It's part of the reason they target certain groups or harvest, if you get my drift. Interesting, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know about all this. Thank you, Robert. Can't get enough of the podcast. Harry, people are so sick. I agree. Let's get rid of this stuff. As Amanda says, it is insane. But let's talk about it today, ladies and gentlemen. Is the ozone layer a hole, H-O-L-E, or is it holy, H-O-L-Y? In other words, is the Antarctic ozone hole a tragedy or an escape? Yes, different kind of glasses, but the same ones. I just forgot I was wearing these. These are the ones I usually wear when I'm not on camera, but hey. And the thing that first interested me was the fact that of all the places, this ozone hole is over Antarctica, right? So why is it of all the places over Antarctica? That makes me wonder. It makes me go, And I guess we could ask ourselves, since it's over Antarctica, is it a hole for extraterrestrial travelers to get in and out? We could ask ourselves that question. Seems fairly reasonable. Or, as Tracy Dyer suggesting, is it a hole that has been opened to help us as individuals escape through the net? Lots of interesting speculation. And we could take it a step further, especially after talking with some of our recent guests. Is it the activity of benevolent extraterrestrials to create a hole through which we can escape? Now, this whole idea of escaping through a hole becomes interesting to me because of my brief foray into the world of shortwave. And I learned when I went and toured the shortwave channel that I was broadcasting from that you can't send shortwave straight up. You've got to send shortwave at an angle, either the shorter angles or longer angles. What happens if you send shortwave straight up? Boop. Well, they say it goes right through the atmosphere and it won't bounce around and no one can hear it. So if you shoot shortwave straight up, boop, right through the atmosphere. No, I don't know if that meant straight up from where they were. They were not in Antarctica. They're in South Florida. But it's still an interesting concept of going at an angle and getting rebound, or going straight up and going through the atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. And that also reminds me of some of the work that I was doing with the ghost helpers. And some of you saw some of those shows. And if you remember one in Fort Lauderdale, or was it, I think it was in Vero Beach, actually. It was in Vero Beach, where there was a little girl that we contacted, and she indicated that she was stuck and wanted to go home. And having just come from the shortwave radio station, I suggested that she look straight up and see if there was a hole. Sure enough, the little girl goes, "Oh, there is a hole." And poof, she was gone straight up. So the idea of there being holes through which spirits, disembodied human entities, whatever you want to call them, can escape is not without some precedent. Very interesting. Very, very fascinating to me. So if there is a grid around this entire country, like many people have speculated, then has this hole occurred unnaturally in order to create an escape? Has it been created by some ET presence that can use it for their own means, but we could take advantage of it? Or has it been crafted by a benevolent ET race to help us? Or is it, since it is a natural, it's demonstrable that it's a natural reoccurring cyclical phenomenon? You know, we talk about cycles of all the bad things that happen. What if there's a cycle instituted by Mother Earth, Sophia, Gaia, and we're going to get very deeply into this over the next few weeks. What if there's a cycle that is instituted by Mother Earth to open those holes up at periodic and measurable intervals so that we can escape, or we can just check out when we've had enough? Interesting speculations. They are kind of speculative. I'm not usually this speculative in my shows, but it is some interesting stuff. And also, let's think about it in this regard. Let's look at ozone more from a scientific approach. And I'm looking, of course, at Wikipedia, not because I necessarily love Wikipedia, but because Wikipedia can be and is a good information of just, it's a good source of just plain old information. Ozone is an inorganic molecule. It's pale blue. It has a pungent smell. It is formed from the action of ultraviolet light and electrical discharges within the Earth's atmosphere. Interesting. Ozone layer of the stratosphere absorbs most of the sun's ultraviolet radiation, which brings up another question. We've been taught that the sun's ultraviolet radiation is bad, 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 bad. How do we know for sure if it's bad, 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 bad? I'm just asking the questions. Ozone is reminiscent of chlorine as far as the smell goes. It is diamagnetic, which is interesting. They're repelled by a magnetic field. An applied magnetic field increases or creates an induced magnetic field in them in the opposite direction, causing a repulsive force. In contrast, that's interesting. And it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we can get into all kind of things, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like gold. Wow. Just interesting stuff. You could go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole, and we'll try not to go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. Ozone is a powerful oxidant. It damages mucus and respiratory tissues in animals, plants, above concentrations of about 0.1 parts per million. Interesting. Yet a higher concentration in the ozone layer is beneficial to prevent damaging UV light from reaching the Earth's surface. It just makes me wonder. Because isn't there some people that actually use it to help their environment? Ozone has a fresh smell. It evokes associations with purifying properties. Ozone seems like it would be, naturalists working outdoors often consider higher elevations beneficial because of their ozone content. They say that higher elevations have enough ozone to sustain necessary energy production. Henry Henshaw, naturalist, American ornithologist. I think that means he's a bird guy. Seaside air was considered to be healthy because of its believed ozone content. Interesting. I'm just reading something real quickly here. A couple of doctors documented that frogs grew sluggish, birds gasped for air, and rabbits' blood showed decreased levels of oxygen after exposed to ozonized air, which exercised a destructive action. So it seems like we've got naturalists saying ozone's helpful, and we've got scientists saying that ozone is not helpful. There was some use of ozone as a disinfectant for wounds. So ozone is definitely a very interesting little element. Some say it's good, some say it's bad, but there is no doubt that there is a layer of it around the earth. There is a layer of it around the earth. There's a lot of nomenclature in here. Talking about ozone as a greenhouse gas, ozone air pollution. Trying to see if there's something about ozone in its profound or helpful considerations. And of course not. That's kind of interesting. Industrially, though, ozone is used to disinfect laundry in hospital, food factories, and care homes. It's used to disinfect water in place of chlorine. It deodorizes the air after a fire. That's interesting. Kills bacteria. It's a chemical sanitizer in breweries and dairy plants. Interesting. Cooling towers, water bleed off, have increased performance, sanitized swimming pools, kills insects and stored grain, wash fruits and vegetables to kill yeast, mold, and bacteria, chemically attacks contaminants in water, cleans and bleaches fabrics. Very interesting. Eradicates waterborne parasites. So this seems to be air purifiers emitting low levels of ozone, nature's way of purifying the air filters and to sanitize it without chemicals and household services. But guess what? The US EPA says that there is evidence to show that at concentrations that do not exceed public health standards, ozone is not effective at removing many odor-causing chemicals. So even though you think it works, we, the experts, tell you it doesn't work. Ozonated water is used to launder clothes and sanitize food, drinking waters, and surfaces in the home, just like it says it was being used that way in industrial applications. But according to them at the US FDA, who Rex would say love us so very much, it's amending the food additive regulations to provide for the safe use of ozone in gaseous and aqueous phases as an antimicrobial agent on food, including meat and poultry. Studies at Cal Poly demonstrated that little bitty levels of ozone dissolved in filtered tap water can produce a reduction in foodborne microorganisms and salmonella. Ozone can be used to remove pesticide residues from fruits and vegetables. Hot tubs. I wonder if it works on a hot tub time machine. Very interesting. It's used in aquaculture. I'm sure some of you have some expertise in that area. Agriculture, ozone therapy, but not supported by high quality evidence and generally considered alternative medicine. And we don't want any alternative medicine, ladies and gentlemen, do we? Interesting. So there is an ozone layer. Some say it's good for you. Some say it's bad for you. You can use ozone in different applications. Some say they're good for you. Some say they're bad for you. Interesting. And yes, there is a cyclically occurring hole in the ozone layer. Is it man-made? Very doubtful if it's cyclical, and it's been happening for many, many cycles when there were no human activity on the earth, or was no human activity on the earth. So who does it? Why is it there? Can we use it? Can we not use it? Is it good for us? Is it bad for us? A lot of things to think about, ladies and gentlemen. Tracy Dyer reports getting dizzy around an ozone machine. Of course, I don't know her personally, so I don't know how dizzy she is normally. Mark Center Saint asks, who do the experts work for? Of course. Some people theorize that chemtrails are a global attempt to close the ozone hole. If the ozone hole is related to spiritual development, I could see why they want to close it secretly. Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. No, I'm not sick. Do household ozone generators have any positive benefits besides odor elimination? I guess that depends on who you ask. Francis says that ozone, when she's exposed to it, feels better, but she had a girlfriend that made her sick. Well, that's because your girlfriend's obviously a reptilian. Duh. Here I am starting another conspiracy. Richard Elliston says, it seems like psychic awakenings in humanity have been concurrent with the ozone hole. Could cosmic energy be interacting with the pineal glands? Interesting. One video talked about, yeah. Interesting. Good evening from France. People are sick. Yep, they are. Elites know the ozone and melanin problem. Huh. Well, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I do know it's very interesting. The smell is not pleasant. And again, that seems to be a question of some debate. Ozone saunas. Nah, Rod, don't get me started about saunas. It's a sore spot for me right now, but I'm not going to give into that. I'm just going to let it go. Musa, serenity now. Francis Smith says reptiles are good people, at least some of them. Must be just different audio equipment, voice-wise. Apologies. Renee Marshall, of course, it's activating the pineal gland. Renee says, of course. I say it's at least a possibility. Violet that she's going to watch later. In the sauna, you don't breathe it in, though. Huh. Well, all I know, and here's one other thing I wanted to show you. When Tracy asked me to do this or put the bug in my ear, I grabbed my trusty whiteboard and I ran my little cipher on it that I know you guys think is crazy, but that's okay. I'm going to show you anyway. If I can get the lid off this damn pen. So ozone. O Z O N E, ozone. Okay. So the way the cipher works is you've got the word ozone. Let me get myself back on here live so I can see what I'm doing. Okay, ozone. All right, ozone. Ozone. What you do with this cipher is, oh, look at this. I'm going to do it all fancy. You take the last letter off. No, you don't. You take the first letter off. I was just joking. You take the first letter off of the word, and then you put that letter at the end of the word. So ozone becomes zone O. Okay. Or, so is it zone O as in zone out, a way for you to get out? Or is it a zone 0, as in you're not there anymore or it's not helpful? I don't know. but just something to think about. I would think it's a zone 1O, zone one way out. Is it a zone O, a zone out? That's just something to ponder. It seems like Tracy might have been thinking that way. And it seems like this little double A cipher, as I call it, would suggest that it is a way out, or at least a helpful thing, ozone, and specifically the hole in the ozone layer. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you go. Speculative, but we're here to ask questions. We're here to question answers. And we're here to give you information to help you guide your own spirit, master your own ascension, and be your own guru, ladies and gentlemen. We're here to give you the information you need to do the inside job and the information you need to unindoctrinate yourself. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. This is what I do. What you do with what I do is up to you, because you're the one that is going to be the one that saves you, or the one that causes you to take it around one more time. You are divine. You are sovereign. You are free. And that does come with this thing called responsibility. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll see you next time.